All right, Cougars, this is your first presidential candidate, Lizzie Pyle. First question. As ASB president, you will conduct the student council meetings as well as help make decisions that can have a strong impact on our student body. What qualifications do you possess that make you the best candidate for the position of ASB president?
Well, I was the California State Delegate for the World Leadership Congress in Chicago last year, and that got me really involved with a bunch of diverse people, so I've learned to work with a bunch of different types of leaders. I was also sophomore class president, and I'm in a bunch of clubs like Interact, Six Man, Mock Trial. I've been in several sports, and I've been captains of several teams, but in all honesty, it's not really about the title. It's about what you do with it. When I was in Chicago last summer, I organized 2 events that got over 170,000 community service hours. I really want to help the people in this community and get everyone involved.
Second question. As ASB president, you will also have the potential to be a powerful force behind student issues. Will you please share a student issue in which you feel strongly about?
One issue that I really want to work with administration to get rid of is the no cars that break policy. I feel like it doesn't really help our students, and it's something that they definitely don't like. Another big issue would be the really big bridge between leadership staff to the students. The communication just isn't there. And for students to be fully involved and really reap all the benefits of our school, they need to be informed of what's going on. If I'm elected as ASB president, that's the first thing I want to work on. Because in all honesty, you get out of the school what you put in.
Third question. What do you love about HMBHS, and how does that influence your position if you are elected?
There's nothing I love more at HMBHS than homecoming week. Because, I mean, it's everyone's involved, everyone's spirited. It's the best week on campus by far. As ASB president, I would want to spread that spirit more throughout the year so it doesn't just die off in the middle of October. When I was a sophomore in leadership, I was one of the people that planned the entire tradition of having a Spring Spirit Week. And if elected as ASB president, I'd like to do more things like that. The real role of leadership is to let the students have as much fun as possible. And that's what I want to do.
And last question. You have 30 free minutes in your day. What do you do with those 30 minutes?
In all honesty, I'll probably catch up on the sleep that I don't have, or I'll be hanging out with friends or scrolling through Instagram.
All right, thank you. All right, Cougars, this is your second presidential candidate, David Pantera. First question. As ASB president, you will conduct the student council meetings as well as help make decisions that can have a strong impact on our student body. What qualifications do you possess that make you the best candidate for the position of ASB president?
This year I've been really lucky to work really closely with our current ASB president, Emily Jacopi, as I've been serving as her ASB vice president. So as vice president, I've already run student council meetings, I've already worked with our administration, I've gotten the experience of sitting on school committees, serving as that voice of the students to our administration and to our community. So I've learned a lot from Emily this year, and we've worked really closely to ensure that going into next year, I've practiced a lot of the things from running these meetings to sitting on these committees that I'll need to do next year as ASB president. I was also the freshman class president my freshman year, where my class was the first freshman class ever to win homecoming, and we scored the most the most class of the year points as a freshman class. I'm also the president of the school site council this year, which is responsible for things like getting Chromebooks into classrooms and paying for the added field trips throughout the year. And I sit on the Health and Wellness Committee, which is responsible for the schedule changes and the late starts in our schedule coming next year and the year after that. So with all of these, I'm really confident in my ability to be a successful ASB president and be in a position where we can take care of some really serious issues like lack of school spirit and lack of trust from our administration in our students.
Question number 2. As ASB president, you will also have the potential to be a powerful force behind student issues. Will you please share a student issue in which you feel strongly about?
I think that a big issue we have is the lack of communication between the leadership class and the students, and the lack of communication between the students and our administration. So as ASB president, I would focus a lot of attention of the leadership class onto communication. I feel like any student who has an issue or a question or a comment should feel heard by not only the leadership class, but by the school administration. And so to start that off, I would, as ASB president, all students would be welcome to our student council meetings to see how things are getting done and to be active in that process, not just the students in leadership. And if they can't make it to these student council meetings, they should be able to submit like a question or a comment or anything they have in a box that I want to put in the main office right in the front, says leadership on it, so that any student at any time of the day can submit anything they want to leadership and know it's heard both by leadership and by school administration. In addition to that, I think that Mr. Nazar and our president should sit down every week right after the student council meeting and talk about these ideas and concerns that were addressed during the student council meeting to make sure that they're being heard by the students and by the administration. Because the bottom line is that students don't know when things are happening or they're given too short of a notice. So as president, I plan to change this by focusing leadership's priorities onto communication to get the word out. Because really our participation and spirit is driven by this communication. And the first thing we can do to get this participation up is at the very least making sure our students know what the heck is going on, or at least have enough time to prepare for it. So whether this is done through expanding our social media, a carnival, a raffle, new style of posters, the students deserve that leadership is making sure that every student is informed and listened to when they have something to say. Our new schedule next year with our late start brings the opportunity for a lot of change in our school. And so you want to choose a president who will take a proactive role in this to make sure that issues like why we can't go to our cars during break or passing period, like silly little issues like that, are handled. And so I believe that I would be the best candidate to make sure that this proactive stance is taken to get these issues solved.
Number 3, what do you love about HMBHS, and how does that influence your position if you are elected?
Hands down, I think the best quality on our campus is our diversity. Nowhere else on the coast will you find a school as diverse or cultured as ours. And I think that leadership needs to take the opinions of all of these groups before making big decisions. I think that our school has a lot of different people who want a lot of different things and have a lot of different opinions, and leadership needs to be more accommodating to all of these students, whether or not they can attend the student council meeting to make sure they're heard. And this comes back to communication. That leadership needs to invest more time in events like Challenge Day. I think we should have 4 or 5 Challenge Days throughout the year, not just one in October. And we need to bring events like Continent Day. It needs to come up to the high school. Because it's events like these where we interact with our peers and our other students like this that we really thrive off our diversity here. And so as president, I'd make sure that that diversity is really cherished and students aren't silenced just because they're different than the people around them. Because I mean, when it comes down to it, it's important to choose the president that not only has the best qualifications and the most experienced, but will be taken the most seriously by our administration. Because if your president acts like the position is a joke, that's exactly how they're going to be treated. And if the president is treated like it's a joke, nothing's going to get done. So Half Moon Bay High deserves a president who's going to take the position seriously and knows the system well enough to get actual change done. Because with the right person in charge, our school can see these issues like the silly car issue. They can see these be done. But step 1 is choosing the right president who has the experience, has the qualifications, and will be taken seriously by our administration to get these done. The ASB president, it's the voice of the students, it's the face of the students. It's not a joke, and if the president acts like the position is a joke, then these serious issues like the cars, like bringing challenge days, like a continent day, like our participation in spirit, like communication, why things like we only give class of the year points for going to football games, and why we don't give them to all games, so we increase our participation in all of our games, why the bathrooms in the K building, why those are still locked and not unlocked to the students to use. These really serious issues won't be taken seriously if the president doesn't take the role seriously. So I believe that I am the candidate that has the most experience serving as this voice and face of the students to administration and to our community. But most importantly, I'm the candidate that will be taken the most seriously by our administration when I raise these big issues to our principal, to our assistant principals. Because the biggest gift and priority of leadership is to give students pride, is making sure that the students here are proud, not only that they go to Half Moon Bay High, but that they came from Half Moon Bay High. And this is done through participation in spirit, which is brought through communication. So it's events like Continent Day, events like more challenge days, where we communicate with each other, and leadership, making sure the students know what the heck is going on at their school so they can go to these events. That's what brings kids pride.
And last question. You have 30 free minutes in your day. What do you do for those 30 minutes?
Honestly, I'd probably be in the kitchen making something to eat, or on the golf course, because I probably spend way too much time in the kitchen. So, yeah.
All right, thank you. This is your last presidential candidate, Garrett Glasson. First question. As ASB president, you will conduct the student council meetings as well as help make decisions that can have a strong impact on your student body. What qualifications do you possess that make you the best candidate for the position of ASB president?
Well, I served 2 years in the leadership class, both freshman and sophomore year. First year, I was underneath David Pantera. Second year, I was vice president to Lizzie Pyle, and I've always considered myself a good mediator of people. And I think the key to running a meeting in leadership is to make sure that people who have something constructive to talk about with the issue that's currently being brought up, you let them have the most ample amount of time you can give them. And someone who's just going to drag down the conversation with something derogatory or meaningless, you should make sure that they stay quiet.
Second question. As ASB president, you will also have the potential to be a powerful force behind student issues. Will you please share a student issue in which you feel strongly about?
Well, one of the biggest issues that I feel strongly about is the new rule that no students are allowed to go to their cars at break. I feel like, well, if you've paid $60 to use the upper lot or just went through the registration process to use the lower lot, they should be able to use your car whenever you want. And I feel that as president, it should be my duty that as soon as taking office, I will begin working with administration to repeal this rule as soon as possible.
Third question. What do you love about HMBHS and how does that influence your position if you are elected?
I love that we are all members of Half Moon Bay. And when I say that, I don't mean that this is where we live. I mean that on a deep level, no matter what color you are, no matter how much money you have, no matter what grade you're in, we all know that this is our town, this is our home, and when it comes down to brass tacks, we'll stand by one another no matter what. I love that.
And last question. You have 30 free minutes in your day. What do you do for those 30 minutes?
Well, that's a tough question. 30 minutes is a lot of time, and I wouldn't know possibly what to do with 30 minutes. I don't know, I could take a 30-minute nap, watch one episode of a TV show, but most likely I would grab something to eat. And, you know, because I like to eat.
Thank you.
As ASB Vice President, you work closely with the ASB President and step into the President's role if the need arises. What are your strongest characteristics that will be useful for your position as ASB Vice President?
Well, hey Cougars, as you know, I am Brendan Noriega. I am running for Vice President, and I think that one of my strongest characteristics is being able to be determined to step into President's shoes if ever needed. I will have to step up to be the best and what I can do to the ability to be a good student body. I will always put others before me. I care about what people think and what they need and what they want. And I will always support your guys' need. As ambitious as I feel like I am, I hope I am very successful, and this is my second year being in leadership class. I'm currently a junior class president, and I just love getting involved with other students and the whole community, and it's just great having that feeling of wearing orange and black all the time.
Second question. What do you love about HMBHS and how does that influence your position if you are elected?
What I love most about HMBHS is the people, the students, and the staff. I love when I see people helping others out. It's just great motivation for others. I love supporting many students that I don't even know, and it's just amazing how they just come up to you and they just start talking like, oh, can you help me with this? And it's just great seeing that the school is getting better and just having a good reputation.
Last question. Who is your role model and why?
My role model, of course, has to be Ms. Benson. She is an outstanding teacher, and she is like a mother to me. She likes to boss me around a lot, and you know, I had her sophomore year in World History Sedai class, and she had a variety of students talking in Spanish, and she only had like 5 students talking English. So she asked me to help her out a lot in translating and motivate students to do their work. And it's just a great feeling having a teacher support you a lot. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First question, as ASB Vice President, you work closely with the ASB President and step into the President's role if the need arises. What are your strongest characteristics that will be useful for your position as ASB Vice President?
As ASB Vice President, I feel like I can bring like my charismatic attitude. Like I feel like I'm already very loud and not in a bad way to say, but like energetic, and I'm excited about the school. And also I'm like well spoken, I would say, not to brag, but I have a way with words to like get along with people.
Second question, what do you love about HMBHS and how does that influence your position if you are elected?
Oh, I came to the school last year and I was a new freshman coming from a different district, and I love how welcoming everyone is and how like tight-knit the community is and everyone's involved in everything. Oh, and also I love like the teachers, how I can go in and get one-on-one help from my like chemistry teacher. Shout out to you, Ms. Tabani, to like get further help and just understand things more.
Last question, who is your role model and why?
My role model would have to be my Uncle John. He graduated from here in the early 2000s, and he went to college in Southern California. He's like been to China and he's moved places, but he's still come back and helped his community, and that's what I want to do. I want to go places but still come back and help the people that help me get there.